review of the game. I'll do that real quick at the end of this video. But I want to talk about Sub-Zero because my last video did pretty well. I want to thank you guys for that. Showing off combos. Everybody was talking in the comments, explaining things that they think. And I love more interaction in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys think and your thoughts on what they should do with Sub-Zero as the character. Now, if you're in the community of Sub-Zero, you know that there's the big corner combo that's using the kick, and it's doing like 55% with Cyrax. You'll know that True Underdog, as you guys saw it, made a video explaining that Sub-Zero isn't as bad and we should really stop complaining. We have like characters like, we have stuff like Goro to extend our combos and play off of things that we couldn't normally play off of, like the amp slide. I think, if I remember correctly, Goro lets you, Goro lets you combo off the amp slide. But I want to talk about this, and the character as a whole. I think Sub-Zero is generally fun if you're getting into him, and he looks cool, with a lot of stuff you're doing, like, pulling out the spine looks cool. That looks cool. The slide in this game looks great. And I think there's a lot of things that the character that does right, and I will concede that like True Underdog also brings up the fact that 30% combos for meterless combos is pretty good, and I agree. I think that 30% like meterless combos is pretty good. You can even get like 35%, 33%, like stuff like that. But I don't necessarily think that the way to buff Sub-Zero is damage. And let me elaborate. Now, I think that his scaling does need to be looked at as well. I will say that before we get into this, because doing stuff like this ends up being 1% more damage for Sub-Zero than just not doing it at all, which is kind of dumb. I feel like I agree with Underdog there, where it should be at least 35% possible with the meter burn. But let me explain what I think, right? So the amp slide knocks your opponent up and it puts you on the other side of them, and it's your armored wake up attack. I propose an idea for the developers, or like people to like, maybe like a food for thought idea. Havik has an attack where he rips his arm off and he hits you with it, and it's armored. And if you hit him while he's armored, it just splats you. The attack knocks you down. But if you don't hit him and you obviously don't block it, it leads into a combo. It throws you up, right? So what if Sub-Zero had a similar property on his slide? Is my thought here, right? Because they can hit you on wake up with this whenever you're doing the slide, and so my thinking is, what if that Sub-Zero has the same property, and if you don't get hit during the slide, so you do it in a combo, right? It'll extend your combo, right? So that they're comboable after that. So maybe you do like your forward 1-2, or depending if they want to adjust the distance, you do your jump up, or you do this, and it extends your combo for you to use more bar, and maybe you reach like a 40% mark, and then you're not limited to using Cyrax or Goro. It really depends, right? That's what I propose, because I understand that damage is sketchy to mess with, so I don't necessarily know that he needs air quotes more damage. I think his scaling needs to be touched a little bit, because I do think that the amount of attacks he's doing and like the damage he's getting off is a little awkward. But I don't necessarily think that it's like straight up damage that we should be looking at. That's why I propose that the slide become a knock-up ability that you could be used mid-combo. Now imagine the combo I showcased last video, like this right here. And at the end, you amp the slide and then continue the combo, allowing you, the player, to reach better numbers. That's what I propose. I don't think that like buffing his damage is 100% the way to go. Obviously, like, some people are talking about the clone as well. I think the clone is a slippery, like, slope for them to fuck with. Because the clone can be very annoying. Because I've been on the receiving end of clone even when I wasn't playing Sub-Zero. And it can be very annoying to deal with sometimes. And it's just like a weird scenario for you. But even then, like, as a Sub-Zero player, we all know, like, a lot of times you aren't really using this clone too much unless you know they're going to attack and run into it, or you're using it in a combo, like, in a corner. Now, that being said, I think that, like, maybe they could potentially make the clone feel a little bit better, extend the duration maybe a little bit. But I mostly think that the slide change would be interesting for the character, because right now that would be a launch tag, because right now your main launchers that you're using are this, and if you can get it off this, but not too often am I doing a jump attack by the way, that's a mid, and not too often am I doing this, because I don't like jumps in this game, and I'm an up block from what I've learned. That might be able to counter this entirely, so I don't really want to up block, like, deal with, like, because people are gonna figure out how to up block, and then these attacks will become very unsafe and very punishable. And if they just block low, these attacks are very punishable anyways. Now they combo, and so you can do some unique combos with them where you're like kicking down. And that's very well fine and dandy, and that's completely okay. But it would just give Sub-Zero another option for a launch in his kit that the player can, like, see. Because, like, when I first played Sub-Zero, I thought this was comboable, but it's not. And I think that would be interesting for the slide to be have the same properties as Havoc's I think it's called Helping Hand attack. And that will allow you to, like, you know, use cameos like Sub-Zero and Frost in different unique ways that aren't just playing off this. Because a lot of what you're doing right now is doing this. I obviously don't have Sub-Zero equipped right now, but you would do this, you would freeze them, and then you would go into your spine tap, which is fine. But, like, if you have more opening opportunities, like, you can do this into a combo that allows the player to do stuff that would lead more back into another combo. Now, obviously, a lot of people, like, the argument would be, you know, like, if he does that, like, it becomes worrisome, because, you know, obviously at that point gravity's going to start affecting the characters, because if you don't know how Mortal Kombat works, like, the longer a person stays in the air, the more, like, gravity affects them, so they start getting pulled harder in the ground, so you're not eternally just being juggled in the air. And obviously that would be a factor in the effect here, where I think people will be partly scared that people would just start spamming the slide, right? So you're getting, why am I not, what am I doing? So people start spamming this, but obviously gravity's in effect, so, like, you know, it's not like a bounce, or like, what is it, where, like, it's like not like a restand, so, like, the gravity stops affecting them. It's obviously they're still in the air. So I don't know, but I don't know, that's just, like, my main idea for a buff. I like I said, I'm skeptical of giving him damage, because I understand that damage can be slippery. Now, I'm actually, if they give him damage, I'm not going to complain. But I don't know. The Sub-Zero situation is kind of hard, and I understand that people, like, are against it. They don't want to buff Sub-Zero because they think he's fine, and people, like, they want to buff Sub-Zero, like, the Sub-Zero community wants to buff him because he feels like a lot of people, like, that don't play him don't really understand, like, what's kind of mad about him and why he doesn't feel very good to play sometimes. It's a very complex situation we're in, and I'm curious to see how it's gonna get solved. But yeah, I just don't know. I wanna hear what you guys have to say and what you guys think. I think that, like I said, I think the amp slide should be comboable if the armor isn't hit. I think it'd be interesting to see how that would work. But yeah, guys, hope you guys have a great night. Oh, real quick, I forgot. Real quick, I just want to talk about, like, Mortal Kombat as a whole. So I've been playing a different game. I've been playing Cyberpunk. I beat Phantom Liberty. That's what I was doing. I want I needed a break from this game, so I want to talk about it a little bit before I go. I think like this game is, obviously I'm playing on PC, so I could, you know, I can do the shimmies. But so the community's not very big. But I think I want to talk about the game like in an aspect that's like, there's not crossplay. I finished Invasions. I finished the story mode. I've got everything out of the shrine. I've got everything in the season pack. Obviously, that's my fault, but I'm not complaining about that. That's fine. And I think that like once again, when you first get in this game, it's great. But with the balancing and like this, not even like the store had updated for a while. And like certain cameos being way better and characters just being like way easier to play and feeling way more fleshed out. It just kind of left me in a state where I just didn't really feel like dealing with a lot of the situations that are going on. Like, Johnny's so good, Raiden's insane, like, Kenshi can be annoying, Baraka hits you once and it's just like you die. It's just like a lot of situations I just didn't really feel like dealing with, and I just felt like, I don't know, powerless. And, I don't know, it's just like the balancing felt like really shit. So I didn't really want to play for a while, and I needed a break because I was getting annoyed, like fighting Raidens and Raiden, like, you know, Raiden's being Raiden, and like Johnny Cage with the rush down, and Kenshi with like doing crazy guys Kenshi things, and Baraka hitting me once and then going into 50% combos. Like, I just didn't feel like dealing with that stuff. And then like the characters I want to play don't feel very like impactful at times, like Sub-Zero and Havoc. Havoc feels impactful if you know what you're doing, but like can be very hard to like get those moments. So I don't know, I just needed a break, and I want to come back now and I want to learn. I think you're gonna see a little bit more of me playing Liu Kang. I'm a little bit interested in Liu Kang, so we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I just want to talk about that because I think, like I said, I think the game is great when you first get into it, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of content, and it's very interesting, and you can have a great time. But then, you know, if you're not careful, the game can quickly turn into, you know, you just getting on and fighting the same people, and like I was losing the enjoyment that was there. But I'm back and I'm interested, so we're gonna see how it goes. But yeah, guys, I just want to talk about that whole thing. Like I said, I want to hear your opinions on the Sub-Zero